Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menasce. On today's show, we're talking about a major development project that we have underway within our development company, that is Y Street Capital. We closed yesterday on a parcel of land consisting of 1,783 acres on the edge of Colorado Springs. This property was part of a much larger property called the Norris Ranch that was originally close to 20,000 acres. There's a story behind Mr. Norris and the Norris Ranch. We purchased the property from Mr. Steve Norris, son of Bob Norris, who died in 2019 at the age of 90. Bob Norris was a cattle rancher, and through an unlikely turn of events, Mr. Norris had an elephant on his ranch. So I'm going to tell you the story about this elephant. In the late 1980s, a female baby elephant was born into a herd that lived on the plains of southern Africa. Her mother carried her for 2 years, as she normally would have nursed her for 5 years more. But the close-knit family of wild elephants was to face a predator for which there was no match, that is, humans. In a cull, her family was slaughtered in a few moments. Only the newborn female's life was spared. Terrified and bewildered, the young elephant was transported to America to be sold, and there she met the person who was to change her life forever. Bob Norris was a cowboy, with an enormous empathy for animals that overwhelmed his other emotions. He was raised with a pet bear, and as a boy he decided to become a real cowboy. He saw his dream come true in Colorado on one of the larger horse and cattle ranches in America. He was a good-looking guy. He was as handsome as a movie star, and he became the Marlboro Man on television and on billboards around the world. That was a role he held for 12 years. But with the passing of years, and with his own family growing up, he felt the need for something he couldn't name. When she came into his life by happenstance, the hurt, vulnerable little elephant tapped the fullness of Bob's empathy, and an incredible bond between the most unlikely of friends was forged. Bob adopted the baby orphan elephant. He named her Amy, and patiently set about helping her recover from her trauma. He'd never seen a real African elephant up close, apart from at the zoo. He was a horseman, a breeder of champion quarter horses. But through observation, gentle training, humor, and endless perseverance, Bob gradually coaxed Amy into overcoming her mistrust of humans, and indeed her fear of the world. The little elephant became a hand on Bob's ranch, tending to simple chores, riding the fences, and shadowing Bob on his horse. She developed a winning personality and a strong character, and became a beloved member of the Norris family and a partner to the ranch hands. Bob knew from the start the ultimate goal was for Amy to regain her confidence and her independence even, and if it was possible, to go back to the savannas of Africa. This is the true story of how Amy and Bob came together. And there's been a book written about it called The Cowboy and His Elephant. Now, this particular story is one of many related to the Norris Ranch. Our vision for the property is bound up in the growth of the city of Colorado Springs. This property is on the east side of the city, sandwiched between the airport of Colorado Springs and Schriever Air Force Base. It's a very large property, properly serviced with utilities. Even at medium density, this property could sustain up to 9,400 residences. Almost big enough to be its own municipality, but we don't want that. We want that to be part of Colorado Springs. And to that end, we've already initiated the annexation process. As part of the annexation, we've started a master plan for the community, consisting of a zoning overlay which defines areas which will be zoned for residential, commercial, light industrial, schools, parks, all of these things that are necessary in having a vibrant, functioning community. This is a long-term project. We are clearly going into the bottom of an economic cycle, and projects of this nature are designed to span economic cycles. In fact, it's likely that over the next 15, 20 years, we're probably going to see one or two more economic downturns somewhere in the middle there. So these projects have to be designed to withstand economic cycles. This project wouldn't have been possible without assembling a world-class partnership. We've partnered with some of the most prominent development families in the local Colorado Springs market, and it's through that process we've been able to pull together the capital, the expertise, the talent that's enabled this guy from Ottawa, Canada, to pull together a major investment in the city of Colorado Springs. When we were first approached with this project, we were rather dismissive of it. We thought it was too big, it was too complex, it was too fill in the blank. But in the end, over time, after completing a lot of due diligence, we were able to convince ourselves not only was it a viable project, not only was it an exciting project, but it was a project that we could actually do ourselves. So with that, we're pleased to announce the acquisition of the Norris Ranch. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.